Tuperos y tuperas, today on DOOP By The River, guys, we sold another player. Oh my God, we got another one. It is a crazy day for Philadelphia Union fans. We sold Brenden Aaronson, now we sold Mark Mckenzie. Your boys are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the CBA situation. Oh man, it's not as messy as the NFL and the NBA, but oh man. And then of course, we're also going to look at the second part of the MLS season. You guys remember we broke down the first part. Well, today it is part deuce. All right, guys, don't go anywhere because it's all coming up here on DOOP By The River. And let's get this started. That is right. Well, welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we move forward, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to show us some love. We are on PSN Radio, so make sure you are subscribed to PSN Radio. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, you name it, we're on it. So make sure you guys subscribe. And also, if you want to check out our handsome faces, we are on El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel, so you guys can watch it. The video portion of this podcast. Well, let me introduce my panel today of brilliant soccer minds here in the Philadelphia area. First up, I got to start out with my man, Mr. Justin Freiberg. Justin, what's going on, baby?
But 6 million more reasons to be excited, and a whole lot of festive cheer going around the Philly area right now.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We'll get to that in a second, but we all got that $6 million feeling. You feel us out there. All right. We got, of course, my man, Mr. Tim Lovinguth. What's going on, Tim? It's good to see you, baby. It's been 2 weeks, dude. I've had Tim withdrawal.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me on the pod here. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks because I was on 2 episodes ago. But no, I'm excited to be here. This is our last episode of 2020, so it's crazy. Season 1 of DOOP By The River is in its finale here. Yes. 41st episode. I was tallying it all up the other day, so this is our 41st episode, which is crazy to think that we started this back in February. Now here we are, 41 episodes in. So I'm excited to talk about Mark Mckenzie, some MLS offseason stuff, and looking back at the Union season that got us our first trophy here.
Not to throw in a cliche, but time really does fly when you are having fun, and this podcast has really been a lot of fun, guys. You know, it has been our first year. It's crazy to think that I'm capping in my first year at PSN. I couldn't have made a better decision, and thank you everyone at PSN, including you two here that are on. It's really made this so special. But guys, you know, this is our first year, like Tim said, but we ain't stopping, man. We are going full force, just like the Philadelphia Union. The Philadelphia Union are going to go in full force into 2021, and I figured let's just dive right into it, guys. Mark Mckenzie, we've been talking about this for the past couple months. It's been the other saga. You know, we've had a couple of good soap operas with the Philadelphia Union 2020. Is Brenden Aaronson going to get sold? Where is he going? The Jose Brujo Martinez situation with the Venezuelan Federation, and then it was the Mark Mckenzie saga, which actually I felt dragged out a little longer than the other two. Is he going to Celtic? Is he going to the Prem? Is he going to Bundesliga? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a crazy, fast, rapid week to end 2020, but beginning of the week, the rumor dropped that Genk from Belgium was in talks with the Philadelphia Union, but there was still Bundesliga and Premier League clubs still interested. And then, you know, those rumors dropped, and I was like, all right, you know, it's just another team in here that's, you know, just trying to stir up the pot here, trying to stir up the negotiations. And then less than 24 hours later, I see JT's tweet saying that they're in final stages of the negotiations, and I'm thinking to myself, this is for real? What's going on? And I'm super excited because, guys, Genk is, I know a lot, some Union fans, there's that small portion that really just don't care for the Euro game, and I completely understand. That's completely fine. But Genk is one of the best at developing young stars. And now Mark Mckenzie is going to be going into that lineage of good young stars. It is a brilliant day. It's not final yet. Like, the negotiations aren't final from both sides, but it seems as if they are like literally signing the deals up now. But from my understanding, the transfer fee will be around $6 million. So, oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, like the possibility you getting around 13 million for Mark. Yes, absolutely. Throw that money in the air. 13 million for both Mark Mckenzie and Brenden Aaronson. What else do we want? What else do we want here? Mike, this is a great day, and I'm sorry for the crazy hair, but I'm super excited. My union are making money moves. We're not dancing anymore. We're making money moves. Yes. All right. So, Justin, I'll let you start this off because I know you are familiar with Genk and what they have been doing. But, dude, how do you feel about Mark going to Genk?
So yeah, like everyone else, this rumor came around like Monday night, and it was like okay, like another team's entered the chat, like it's like that group chat, like that other person's entered the chat. Let's kind of go along with it, and then yeah, like I, like everyone else, saw JT's tweet and went, I'm sorry, what? We went from like they're interested to like, okay, Mark is gonna get a medical, and we're talking financials here, and then like. So like in Europe, you tend to get familiar with a lot of the teams that are what you call not feeder clubs, but the clubs that churn out quality talent. Every country has them. I mean, you have
they're factories. They're
like
factories.
like Portugal. I mean, you look at like Sporting Lisbon, the amount of Portuguese players that have gone through the Premier League.
Porto.
In the Premier League, you have Leicester has churned out some talent. You have Southampton. In the Eredivisie, you have Ajax as like the predominant talent. La Liga. I mean, look at Barcelona's academy. Their academy is insane.
The MLS, the Philadelphia Union.
And then people don't really look at Belgium. And so I had to do a little bit of digging to get a sense of the transfers coming from Genk and the top fees, but we're going to look at the top 15. I'm just going to go through that top 15.
Drop them that list, Justin.
So the highest transfer fee in the last, it goes back about 20 years or so, is a recent one, Sander Berge to Sheffield United for about 26.4 million. So, okay, you kind of go through the list. You have Leandro Trossard to Brighton. That's another well-known quantity. The guy that Johnny knows well, Sergej Milinovic-Savic, playing for Lazio.
Guy's a beast.
Wilfred Ndidi for Leicester. I mean, the guy is a huge part of that
Another
midfield.
Beast.
Leon Bailey, by the way, playing at Leverkusen, been dominating for the last few years. Bwana Samata transferred to Aston Villa last year and doing pretty well. A little known MVP, Alejandro Pozuelo.
Hey now.
Came from Genk. Thibaut Courtois when he went to Chelsea. Like, by the way, a goalie who's now doing pretty damn well for Real Madrid, Christian Benteke. I mean, people forget, guy was a monster at Aston Villa. Kevin De Bruyne. Like, you look at that and go, okay, like that's a big thing. And a guy that Johnny might know pretty well. Kalidou Koulibaly.
Oh, do I know him?
I knew. I had to include that.
That's coming. I knew it.
I say that's number 15 on the highest transfers for Genk to Napoli in the 14-15 season at $8.5 million.
Yeah, dude.
So you look at that thing, and you look at their what quote unquote what their starting 11 would be. Yeah, Thibaut Courtois, Koulibaly, Sander Berge, Wilfred Ndidi, Leon Bailey, De Bruyne, Serrano Carrasco, Divock Origi. Like, you look at some of these players and go, okay, this club is very clearly knows how to churn out talent.
Yeah.
And you can go back several pods, but I have been saying for the longest time that Mark Mckenzie would thrive.
You did.
Thrive in a back three. Did I not say that he would thrive in a back three? I kept naming clubs. I went through like all these clubs that played in back threes. Obviously, I didn't look at the Belgian league because at this point, like I was like, I looked at so many teams, and you go, okay, like this guy with the line breaking passes that he makes, and he has his athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna thrive in a back three.
Oh,
And
yeah.
clearly in a academy, a talent churning factory that is the Belgian league. Like, it's clear that Mark is going to be a stepping stone, like Brenden at Salzburg, for his next move.
Well, I didn't you also, Justin? Like, I feel like you did, because we obviously been talking about this. But didn't you also mention like Mark would work well in like a club like Genk as well? Or was it? Or was
I,
that was definitely someone on the spot here mentioned that before?
I'm trying to think. I
don't
might
know.
have. I know I said like. I know I went a Gladbach. I went a Southampton. I went even as far as like, and I think I might have said Anderlecht. I did say Belgian. I said Anderlecht because of Vincent Company, who it was a pretty damn good center back. But like, it's like Weston McKennie at Juventus under Pirlo. Like, you can't argue with a guy who was one of the best at his position. You can't argue with a team that is well known for churning out some pretty decent talent to some very good clubs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Genk is. I mean, I feel like they're always in some sort of European competition. You just mentioned the long list player. You also did. I think you left off Leon Bailey. Went there as well. Who's, we know our Jamaicans well here in Philly.
Yeah.
I did say to Leverkusen, and he's still there. It was a pretty expensive
Okay.
transfer. Number 6 in their most expensive transfer.
Number
$14.85 million back in 2016.
I think
No.
the craziest thing with those transfers, though, is when you look at them, you see that Genk usually brings players in either on free, transfers or for not that much money, and then they flip them for crazy amounts of money. So if we're talking and Mark is going there for reportedly 6, that's a pretty good investment by them, and they think that he could be flipped for a whole lot more money, I would assume.
I was gonna say,
because they usually bring players in for like those 2 years. They bring them in for 2 years and they turn them into superstars and they sell them to one of the top 4 leagues, across Europe there. So I think that's the most exciting part, is if they're looking at Mark for 6, that's a huge investment. Like, he's gonna have to come in and start and play really well and have all that, responsibility thrown on his shoulders. And I think he's ready for it.
And that's the thing. You look at like right now, what looking at transfer market. If you're looking at their top, the person that is considered a center back by nature, their top center back is Omar Colley in 2018 to Sampdoria for 8.8. So if Mark is right now at 6, and that's not even including any incentives. Like, you're talking, they're hoping that they can get, I'm going to assume at least 10. Like, you might want to double. You might want to go for 12. And most teams usually want to get at least double what they paid for.
Right.
Yeah. And guys, this is why, and not to get, get into real life stuff here, but this is why I always tell people patience is key. Like, trust the process. Be patient. Things will work out, because look, Mark Mckenzie, we were talking about Celtic a couple months ago, and obviously Celtic didn't believe that Mark was worth $6 million or whatnot for a transfer fee. And look, now Mark is going to a better situation. Like, no knock on Celtic, because they obviously have a lot of history over there, but they're not known for developing. They're not known for selling players like Gang. Like Justin literally just laid it out for you guys. This is the best case scenario for Mark Mckenzie. That's why he tweeted out, you just gotta be patient. And he was patient, and now he's going to the best case scenario for his career. And I'm excited. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys know how excited I am. I'm going to see my club center back, Mark Mckenzie, potentially play with one of my national team center backs in Johan Lucami, who the way our center backs are looking right now in Colombia, he could be pushing for some time. So I really love what's going on in Ghent. Go get me someone get me that Ghent jersey. I'm ready for that kit. Give me that.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that point I gotta look at what their jerseys
probably
are.
It's better than a Red Bull one, but
yes, I can't wear that.
I think we gotta say though, we gotta give huge props again to Ernst Tanner.
Yes, the best GM in Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen.
I was gonna say the $6 million whisperer.
Yeah, he's flipping 2 homegrowns for $13 million in a pandemic. Like, soccer market right now is all over the place, and when you look at the business that he's doing right now, it's like incredible to see that the Union are potentially going to get 13 million just up front for 2 players that they developed.
Yes,
Like
sir.
that's crazy. That's crazy, and it's the model. We'll see what happens with that as we kind of move forward into who's the next homegrown that's kind of maybe move up. I know there's a lot of splash and news with some of those younger kids that are coming up the pipeline here. So we'll see what happens. We got Paxton coming in and a few others. Brandon Craig looks good. A few other homegrowns we'll get to see here in 2021.
Yeah, Tim, I don't understand. Look, I got into your podcast at DOOP By The Rivers or whatnot, and you're telling me here that the Union are the best team in Philadelphia. And look at them now. Now they're selling the 2 best players. Why the hell would I get into this damn team, man? I'm sorry. I had to do it.
I can't wait. I can't wait for when the 4-for-4s come into this and they don't understand. They don't get it, but they're going to still watch, and the Union are still going to win, and they're going to be confused as anything, and I'm here for it. I am so here for it.
That's the important thing. Like, look, we welcome look, if you are down with the Union, you're down with the get down, we will accept you. But it's one thing that Philly sports fans need to understand, that this is not like the Eagles. Like, especially the league that we're in, this is a really, really big deal, because we have never been in a position that we have coveted players. Like, we're always looking for the coveted players, and now we have the coveted players. We potentially have the future of the game being sent over to Europe right now. And I think, and I know it's tough for some Philly sports fans to understand that, but this is really a monumental day. Like, I was trying to explain this to my girlfriend's brother. As you guys know, he's a big Eagles and Sixers guy. But he was just like, why are you excited that they made $13 million? It's like chump change in most leagues. And I'm like, I get it. But the way the MLS works is the checkings and the savings and the checkings. And we got some more in the savings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a great day. But back on the $13 million point there. Like, so we get about 13 million, and shout out to Tom Bogart. That's where I saw that first. Tom is doing a great job as well. But you see that we can potentially get 13 million for both these star players. That's absolutely huge here, guys, because you guys know my plan. I want 1 to 3 million for the replacement of Aaronson. I want to spend at least 7 mil for a lethal striker that can game change this now. And we have the possibilities to do these things now. I'm really excited, and I really hope that the key is now, because I don't want to just look at the supporter shield and say, like, okay, we got a trophy, like, we'll be okay like, let's go out and get the MLS Cup. You still have good pieces in place. I know Ali's another year older, but you still got Ali. Jamir Montero is still here. Fontana, he could potentially take that next step as well. Yeah. So you still have good pieces, but now it's about building it. What do you think we can do here with the 13 mil, guys?
I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be broken down in a way that might not be the most pleasing to a lot of Union fans or a lot of Philly fans. I think they're going to invest a good chunk of this into the academy again to keep this pipeline going. We've seen that they have one of the best academies in America, over the last few years. But if they can, invest a good chunk of this, maybe like 6-7 million of this back into that, I think is a really, really good business plan for them, especially in a year where we just know, a lot of teams and the league in general has lost a lot of money. If the Union can pump $7-8 million back into their academy, keep this pipeline strong, they're going to have, a whole lot of success moving forward. And then that means you still have like 5-ish million maybe to play for with transfers, which if we had said that in any other year, we would not be mad. Like, it's crazy, to think that this is the amount of money that they have at least coming in right now. And who knows what the budgets are going to look like. But that's what I think they're going to do with it. I think they're going to invest heavily in the academy, and then the leftover, they will address the first team, because obviously that is the main goal, is to win the games. So.
Tim, I think Adam put it perfectly on Twitter today. He put up it was a GIF, and it was like the parents of Wayne running to the USC or YSC right now, and it was a GIF of a bunch of cartoons just running, and it's true. I mean, you how can you not? Like, even me, I'm obviously, like, I'm engulfed in this team, but if when I start popping out those kids, I'm gonna start putting them in the academy as well. Like, how can you not?
I mean, yeah.
Absolutely good stuff here, guys. Hey, monumental day for the Philadelphia Union, but real quick, we just wanted to congratulate Mark Mckenzie. If you do happen to listen to this podcast somehow, thank you. Obviously, it's not official yet, but thank you so much for what you have done for this club. Same thing with Brenden Aaronson. These two players are going to be cornerstone, players when we look back 10 years from now. Hopefully this is the beginning of, building a dynasty here in Philadelphia. And all it took was selling Brenden and Mark. But, I will never forget Mark for the play he did on the field, being one of the first homegrowns. He was one of the best. He was one of the best, if not the best center back the past couple of years. But more importantly, you know how we feel here about the social injustice issues we have here in America. And Mark Mckenzie was super duper vocal about it all. And I really commend him for that. And that's the most important part besides the play on the pitch. But Mark, you are going to kill it in Europe. No matter where you play, you are going to kill it. And Philly will always love you. This will be your home forever. Good stuff by there. All right. The next topic is not so bright. Well, it's been a crazy year. We just talked about how a lot of teams have lost money due to COVID. Well, now there is a CBA situation and there is some back and forth bickering, and I'm not going to front with you guys. I always keep it real with y'all. I'm not familiar with the CBA situation. I hate anything that has to do with, player associations and owners because it always ends wrong. So I'm going to pass this on to my brilliant soccer minds here. Justin, it seemed like you had a pretty good control over what was going on with our current CBA situation. So I will allow you to tell our listeners and break it down. What the hell's going on right now, man?
Okay, so I'm gonna summarize it real quick because we talked about this at length before, and it's not exactly if you're not a legal expert, and I'm not a legal expert, so I wouldn't claim to be. But to summarize it all, so right around when the season was starting, the CBA was agreed upon. And I say that in air quotes for those who may be listening on the podcast version and can't see me heavily air quote this, is because it was only agreed upon to at least start the season. It had not been officially ratified. So when the season stopped, things were kind of left in the air.
Yeah.
And then as things were going on and they were saying, okay, well, it looks like we're going to start, having training camps coming in around June and starting the season back around July. The owner said, hey, we're going to have to talk about, we're going to renegotiate the CBA. And the Player Association goes, wait a minute. We already agreed upon this. Why are we renegotiating? So the owners and the league, in their gracious wisdom, forced in what is called a force majeure clause. For those of you who aren't legal experts, and again, I am not, I had to look up what that meant. And to summarize that, it means, if I had a hold on, here we go. Let me to the point. Let's make this a audio and personal reference.
Oof.
Now that sound was me ripping up a Post-it note. But essentially that's what the owners are doing to the CBA. What it does is it blows up the CBA. It allows them to essentially terminate the CBA and gives the Players Association, it forces them to, in good faith negotiations. Now, whatever that means, I would love to know, because the Players Association said when the clause was inserted that if the owners blew up the CBA, because obviously the loss of revenue was anticipated, that it was going to get ugly. It wasn't going to be pretty. The negotiations would most likely not be in good faith. But the stipulation is that it has to be 30 days of good faith negotiations. If not, then the CBA itself is terminated, and then obviously they would have to renegotiate. That's where it gets very ugly, because obviously there's probably not going to be 30 days of good faith negotiations. And that's what generally frustrates me about this whole thing is the owners went into this knowing very well knowing there weren't going to be fans in 2020, and there aren't going to be fans in 2021 for most likely the first half of the year. Assuming 70, 3/4 of this country gets itself vaccinated, you're talking maybe by July or August. So you're only having maybe 2 months worth of ticket sales. Obviously not going to be enough to recoup your losses. So you're basically saying, oh, let's forget about that. Let's focus on the current term, even though everyone said going to be losses. And oh, by the way, last time I checked, people didn't go into sports ownerships to turn profits. I mean, we talked about it before. One of the richest owners in the league, Arthur Blank. Last time I checked, he made his money starting Home Depot. And oh yeah, he happens to be one of the owners of the Atlanta Falcons, who NFL, very, very different revenue structure.
Yeah.
Way more money, way more bigger sponsorships. But the owners are losing money. Let's let's feel bad for the millionaires and billionaires here.
Like, yeah, we certainly don't.
We certainly don't. And it frustrates me to no end that this clause was even inserted, full well knowing this was the nuclear option. The Player Association said this was a nuclear option. If they went down this route, that they would be throwing away essentially, any good faith that they had when the CBA was originally ratified. And you're saying, oh, the players didn't also go through hardships that,
right?
For a month or so, month and a half that they were away from their families during the MLS back tournament, that, there were some teams that COVID ripped through.
Yeah.
And heck, the only reason that the Union almost didn't win the Shield was because the Colorado Rapids missed 5 games.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this was even inserted, it really irks me to no end. And I normally don't get this animated about CBA negotiations, but it just gets frustrating because the owners knew this from the beginning, that they were most likely going to put in this, they were going to exercise this clause. It's like, then why even bother having negotiated that last one, having full well known that you were going to blow it up to begin with?
Yeah. I mean, the owners could just do what the Philadelphia Phillies, John Middleton is just doing, just crying wolf, like, oh, we're broke, we can't sign JT Real Muto. Yeah, so they could just do that. But no, I mean, listen, these situations are always a mess. If you're a 5-for-5 like us, we've seen this with the NHL, with the NBA, with the NFL, and it's really, when it comes down to it, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's really just ego at this point. I mean, like Justin just said, it's kind of hard to feel bad for millionaires to be losing money, but also too, guys, I feel like a lot of these owners kind of signed up for this knowing that this was going to be a 10-year project. This league is a project, but if you do look at it, the way this league is going every year, it increasingly gets better and better, increasing especially profit wise. So you're gonna have to suck it up like every other league in this country. Even the NFL is losing money due to COVID. And I get it, the MLS is not the same thing. I was just, on Monday night, I was just talking to one of the content creators for the National Lacrosse League. Those guys are having troubles with just getting their league jump started. Right. It could be worse. And Sakevich runs that league. I had to throw that in there. But yeah, so
trust me, as a lacrosse fan, I'm fully aware Nick is Sakevich part of that league.
I'm sorry. I know for a lot of you fans, it's a sore subject, but I had to throw that in there. But the point is, guys, I feel like this will get worked. I really hope it does, but you never know with these situations. It could be rough here. Tim, do you have any thoughts on the mess we have here with our league?
I mean, Justin hit on the head with his nice little rant there. No, it's it's ridiculous. It really is. I mean, the league and the owners knew this was going to be a result of the way that 2020 has gone. And I get okay, they're going to try to renegotiate, but the way that they're trying to renegotiate is literally by blowing up what they had agreed upon pre-pandemic, because there's still going to be remnants of a pandemic, which is still not gone. It's going to be here in 2021. Just because the calendar changes doesn't mean that it's gone. They're trying to blow it up to get a better deal, essentially.
But Tim, you mean you can't just light the deal on fire and go, Guys,
maybe
we can start
legally,
from brand new.
That's sort of what they're trying to do, isn't it? I mean, that's the way that I've taken it. It's, they're trying to do that. And yeah, I think the Players Association came out with a response to it and said that it's a tone deaf action by the league because of all of the things that the players went through this year. The extreme sacrifices, like you were talking about, Justin, down in the bubble in Orlando, or even we didn't even talk about the Canadian teams that literally had to leave
Didn't
their
go
country,
home.
leave home, and for most of them come live in either New Jersey or Connecticut.
Two terrible places. Who would want to live in New Jersey?
And I'm forgetting.
Wait a minute.
Vancouver went to Portland, so that sounds pretty nice. I don't know.
That does sound pretty nice.
But that's great. But no, they literally had to sacrifice that, not seeing their families, personal risks, health risks, and everything else with that. It's ridiculous. I get it because they did lose a lot of money, and this is one thing that they can do, but it's just not the right thing to do. So it's just it's bad on all fronts. But like anything with a collective bargaining agreement and the way that it works, like John was saying, it works itself out eventually, and hopefully that's what happens here. Whether or not it's to both sides' liking is what will be seen here. So, yeah.
As a rapper once said,
it just had to happen when the Union win a trophy and get into North American competition. The Union win a trophy and the league burns down. I mean,
hey, you know what is a good thing though? Champions League is not a part of this, so we still will get Champions League no matter what.
And your Philadelphia are the favorites for next year. Let's go.
let's slow the roll. I love this team, but let's replace Mark and Brenden first before we.
Yeah, that's true.
We go.
There's some work to do, but hey, at least we'll get Champions League without the looming of a CBA agreement. So.
What are you talking about? Fontana's about to destroy America. I'm just kidding. All right, let me not get carried away. All right, good stuff, guys. I mean, not really good stuff for the CBA situation, but like we said, it should get worked out. But look, we are going to move forward here, and we're going to continue looking back at the 2020 MLS season, the nutty season that was for the Philadelphia Union that ended up in a Supporters Shield win. So last time we spoke, guys, Justin and I broke down the first part of the season. We talked about the first two games and the MLS is back. And today we're going to talk about when the MLS returned back to the regular season. So there was 19 games left. What we're going to do, we're just going to talk about 9 games tonight. And then on the next episode, we'll break down the other 9 games, including so we'll talk about the next 10 games, including the MLS Cup playoff loss, which I don't want to talk about right now. But so we're going to start off today. So after the MLS is back tournament, we're coming back. We're all upset because we lost to Portland in the semis. So then we bounced back and we had to travel on August 20th, a Thursday, at 7:30 to New England, the first of what was like 5 more appearances against those guys. And we drew that first game 0-0. There was like an eerie feeling in that game, guys. You could clearly tell like there was still remnants of the MLS Cup final semis in that game. And if I remember correctly, I think New England outshot us, and I felt like we were lucky to get that draw. But what we'll do, guys, we'll go back and forth. So I'll start with Tim on this one, and then on the next game, I'll get your thoughts, Justin. But Tim, what do you remember from that 0-0 draw in a late August night?
Yeah, I mean, it was Thursday night football, so that was pretty cool.
With the ball.
No, that's pretty much it. The Union were not ready to come back. I mean, they had trained a little bit, but they were just getting their feet under them again. It was probably actually good to have New England first because New England turned out to be a pretty formidable team. I know that the Union beat them every time except for once at the very end there, but there's a good team to start out with on the road, get back into that. Okay, we're traveling. I mean, with the collective bargaining agreement, they had those charters, so that was cool. Nice. But no, it was just an off night for the Union. They didn't look good, like you were saying. They did get outshot, and they just didn't look like themselves. Lucky to get a point, but it was a point that was needed in the end, so it was a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Weird. It was a weird night.
Yeah.
All right, and then following that, 5 days later, the Union came back home to Subaru Park. This was the first match in Subaru Park as Subaru Park, right?
Yep.
And it was against our heated rivals, the energy drink team from North Jersey, and the Philadelphia Union. Actually, I was actually kind of at the game. I was outside with the what do we call ourselves?
Sons of
The
Quarantine.
Sons of Quarantine. Ah, good times, good times. That was a good showing. It was a good showing. We had a good amount of fans. There was social distancing going on. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we did our social distancing. We were watching outside. Shouts to Sid. Sid, if you guys know Sid, he is a nut, and he was absolutely not that night. Sid was
We're
just
sorry if you know Sid. Sorry. We'll apologize in advance.
Sid was literally screaming at the wall because he was hoping that they could hear somehow. But hey, I love Sid. He means well sometimes. But we wound up winning this game 1-0. And you guys know me. Anytime we beat the Rebel, I don't care how we beat them. It is a great night. Nothing can go wrong. So Justin, I will throw this to you, my man. What do you remember from that 1-0 victory against those stinking energy drink team from North Jersey?
Um, what I remember at least about that was after that thoroughly entertaining 0-0 draw in New England, which let me tell you, you could have put that in the background and put your children to sleep because that was a fun game.
Snoozer.
This game wasn't much different. The goal comes on a good cross from Ray and Casper pouncing in the box. And yeah, the Union quote unquote dominated. I mean, they had the possession, they had more chances. Andre really didn't have a ton to do in the second half. I know he had a couple saves to make, but other than that, it was. I mean, the Red Bull weren't a good team this year.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was very clear that it was one of those like, well, they won. It wasn't pretty, but at the end of the day, a win's a win, and you got the 3 points against your not rivals because Red Bull fans, and I have the Twitter receipts to prove it. Don't even think of us as their rival, despite the fact that we don't care whether they think we're their rival, but they care to let you know that we're not their rival, even though it is very clear that they care
Living
a lot
rent
about
free
what we
in Rebels' heads.
Yeah, even though they seem to care a lot about what we say, even though we don't really give two S's about whether they think we're their rivals or not. At this point, we'll have no rivals, and who cares? Because everyone hates us.
And we don't care. Yeah, it was it's always, like I said, it's always great beating the Red Bull organization and hearing the fans cry. It's sounds of music. Sounds of music, guys. Absolutely. All right. So then the next game, we were still at home. It was a big 4-1 thumping over DC United. Oh my God. You want to talk about not being rivals. We thumped them yet again. I think that was a rough time for DC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think they were out a couple key players. They didn't have a lot of depth this year, which
They,
was one of the big
if I remember
problems.
correctly, they didn't have many players at all.
Yeah.
They barely were able to fill a bench.
Yeah, it was rough for DC this year, and I don't know what they're gonna do next year. But hey,
Yeah.
so we won 4-1, going 2-0 at the Sub. Tim, what do you remember from this thumping?
I remember sort of what you guys were just saying. DC had, a rough time. They had 5 people on the bench in this game, so they were already, they could have 5 subs, so that was good. But they had to literally use the 5 people they had, and it was 2 forwards and 3 midfielders, so they were already shorthanded coming in to a red hot Union team, who was. This game was sort of the start of that. The really good form that we saw in the return to play. Kasper Spilko got 2 goals in the first 16 minutes of the game, and then Sergio got a 3rd goal in the 21st minute. And you're thinking, okay, Union are up 3-0 before the 25th minute. This is going to be a huge game. Brenden Aaronson gets a goal in the second half. Julian Gressel did get a goal there to give them one, and he was kind of like one of the only bright spots for DC. Maybe Griffin Yao, the youngster for them, who did feature at the end. But no, this was a game where the Union showed their class. They had their first string starting 11, and it was really clear that this was their first string starting 11, except for maybe Olivier Mbaizo was starting in this match. So maybe not him. It was more so Ray Gaddis for most of the year. But, it was the start of the team really coming together.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You get back-to-back wins. You're feeling like, okay, the Union got back that swagger that they had in the tournament. And then we had to travel on a Wednesday night to Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
And after this game, we kind of figured, like, listen, Matt Fire Stadium probably isn't the place for us to be playing in because we lost 1-0. And as we'll talk about in the next episode, it's just not our place, man. It's just really not our place. But Justin, I'll let you take this one. What do you remember from that loss, man?
I'm gonna sum it up really quickly. No one wants to travel to Columbus.
Especially at 3.
Yeah, no one wants to travel there. Union wanted to get out as soon as possible. Unfortunately, that involved a deflected goal.
Yeah.
They lost. That was about it. That game, there was really not much memorable about that game.
But Justin, why is it that teams have such issues playing that even in like this COVID season where you have no fans? Like even Seattle had troubles playing there in the final.
Johnny, do you really want to play in Columbus, Ohio?
I get that, but what is it that's different than any like northern club, I guess, or northern place to play?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Montfrey is one of those weird stadiums where like it's in the middle of nowhere.
That's true.
I've been there. It is.
It's like no, really like it's a pain, but even for crew fans to get out there, it seems like it's not easy access. So flying out there, it's not great. Like even with charter flights, the flight out to Columbus, Ohio, is not exactly a great one.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's honestly like, people, how strong the Union were at the Sub. Well, flying into Philadelphia is a bit easier than flying into Columbus, Ohio. And I think it's just a natural advantage that Columbus has. I mean, they've always been pretty strong at home.
Do they actually want to move out of that stadium?
Apparently, I was listening to the Cooligans had Derek Etienne on, and he is apparently right near the new stadium they're building, and he said like it looks like really nice from what they may or may not be done right at the start of the season, but at least by like a few months in, they should be able to come into the stadium.
I know in the MLS Cup broadcast, they were saying they weren't going to be in that stadium until like maybe the middle point of the season. So,
like the summer, which would make sense considering how everything's going.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the map of Maffrey Stadium, and like they're like right next to Ohio State. Which, look, I would not want to share any vicinity with the college. I'm sorry, I just would not want to. But damn. I see what you're saying now. Okay. All right. Well, hey, that again, listen, not a lot of people like playing there, and clearly the Philadelphia Union don't like playing there. We'll see what happens next year, but it's just something about that place, man. It's just teams just feel it. You walk in and they just, I don't know. It's crazy. All right. Well,
Can you feel it, Don Garber? Can you feel it?
All right. So the next, obviously around this time, due to the COVID shortened season, we played a lot of double match weeks. So then that following Sunday, the September the 6th, we had to play the New York Red Bulls again. This was up in North Jersey, 7:00 kickoff. We actually destroyed the Red Bulls. It was a great night, winning 3-0.
Brenden Aaronson stamping his mark on what would be essentially the goal that propelled, the $6 million goal that propelled him to Salzburg.
Yeah.
Shit. Salzburg was in the stands.
Against the New Jersey Red Bull, even though they're New York and they play in New Jersey, but let's not gloss over that fact.
don't want to get off topic, but because only because I talked about this today with my girlfriend's brother. I really, if you are a Red Bulls fan, you probably want to get the Red Bull name out of your team as quickly as possible. I know that's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but
Nope.
I would absolutely want to get rid of the Red Bull franchise as a whole
Well,
away from my soccer team.
but Johnny, it's how else are they going to market their very crappy energy drink?
It's
I
so
mean, you look at how many
sad,
teams
though.
they own. Red Bull or Bull and something is on all of the teams, even in Germany where they changed to Rasenballsport, like which like means like lawn football. Like they changed it, like they changed it. It's still Red Bull. I mean, it's still
Justin,
Red Bull. It's all Red Bull.
the problem for me is if like I know Jay hasn't been the most perfect owner in his history, right? But if Jay were to come to the fans and tell us, "Hey, we're going to treat you like the Lakewood Blue Claws," I would not be okay with that. I would not sign up for being the third tier of your little soccer pyramid you're trying to create around the world. I would not be okay with that. And listen. We're not gonna get into it because we can make a whole podcast episode about what's wrong with the New York Red Bull, but that's
Oh,
certain.
I have. Trust me, I have several people who
Who would want to be
could,
part of this, right?
well could very speak to the horror to football that is the Red Bull organization.
Yeah.
So, but if we
I
need
mean-
content for that episode, I have several people who can.
I mean, to be honest, we could just ask Seba. I mean, he'd be down for another
that's right.
podcast, by the way. So.
He's the
I say
guest.
I have a few German friends who would love to get
But
their
anyways,
hands on
for
that
this
stuff.
game. For this game, though, we were talking about it. Brenden Aaronson's golazo. Then second half, Kasper Spilko got the second goal. Matt Real came in and he scored.
Dude.
So good game for everybody.
Bangers.
By him.
All we do is score bangers.
Yeah. Good game for everybody there. It was the day after my wedding. It was a great day. It was a great
that's right.
It was everything.
In a normal year, in a normal thing, we would have all went to Tim's wedding, and then we would have celebrated. We would have been celebrating the next day, potentially
on the bus to North Jersey. Yeah,
and on the banks of North Jersey, watching the Union spank the Pink Cows.
Tim was like the only Union fan in Wildwood that weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what's that blue and gold flag you're flying around here, son? I'm just gonna stop. All right. The next game here, we're gonna say this a lot. We went back home to play against the New England Revolution, and this was one of those wins. We won 2-1. Now we're at Justin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Justin, I know there's a lot of Revolution games that went on around this time of year. I know they meshed together, but do you remember anything from the September 12th game?
I believe this is the Anthony Fontan game,
Yes.
where
That's right.
Where Mr. Tony Fontana comes in and howdy scores if I remember correctly, the first goal was a dainty little chip.
It was
one of those like weird. The ball bounced weirdly in the box, and Fontana was like right in front of Matt Turner, and quickly just kind of flicks it, and it just enough and under the crossbar, because the closer you are to the goal, like doing those little chips don't always work out well. So to get just enough on that, it was like, okay, we might get 3 points here. And Matt Polster gets, I believe it was 2 yellows, pretty quickly, if I remember correctly. And the man that would haunt Union fans for most of the season, Tajon Buchanan, comes and scores a pretty good goal, but a pretty lax defense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Has it 1-1. And then Mr. Fontana pulls up his big boy pants and goes, all right, all I'm scoring is bangers here. A poorly cleared header from Diego Fagundes. And my Lord, that ball was spanked. And I remember very distinctly where I was when that goal was scored. I was in my garage. This is before I got the beer fridge. That is about, I'm gonna say about 20 yards to my right here. I'm out of the garage with a drink in my hand, and I was coming out of the garage, and I could see my TV. And all of a sudden, I just see Fontana spank that ball, and I'm standing there like frozen, going,
What?
Like, I'm like not getting, and I literally just screamed, "Oh my god!" And I think my parents were close to asleep, and I'm screaming, "Holy crap! Holy crap!" Running around the house, going like unbelievable.
It was
And
nuts.
it was a fantastic goal.
I
A golazzo, if you will indulge me on that. My lord, it was beautiful. Chef's kiss.
yes, sir.
Great. And that's all the Union kids do are score golazzos. And that was, I mean, that's the honestly one of the few memorable Revolution games, besides a certain one where we get a certain trophy. But
Amen. Look, I know you guys have been more dedicated Union fans in the history, but I feel like this season, like we just had so many like golazos, like more than any other year. Like you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but
I know, honestly, Tim and I have been around for a good amount of seasons, and
the quality of
like
goals.
a ton of goals. But like in terms of like beautiful goals,
Yeah.
Tim, I don't know about you, but I can't remember a season where there's been so many perfect highlight reel goals.
Yeah.
In one season. Like it's insane.
Yes, sir.
There's been so many, and the times in which that they score, and the way that they had done it throughout the season, pretty much when it looked like they were going to give up a point or 3 points, they stormed back and they took the 3 points away. Like that's really what it was for me in a lot of these games.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the mantra of this Jim Kirchin Union team. Like they don't have quit, except for one game that we won't talk about. But they usually don't have quit, and I think that's going to carry on to next season. But like, you can't give up. You got to play the full 90 minutes, no matter what the score is, and really commend those guys for doing what they did this year. All right, so we have 3 games left. The next game was a week, 8 days later on Sunday, September 20th. It was a 7 o'clock kickoff. We went to, we went up to Montreal, but it was actually North Jersey. It was so weird.
It was the New Jersey Impact, right? That's the brand new expansion team started in September of 2020.
It was so weird seeing Red Bull Arena covered in blue.
Oh my god, it was like they tried so hard to I think they tried to phone in some like some
Impact
sounds. some combat the noise with some from some French
True.
dance, and you're like, it was so obvious. You're like, oh my god, this is bad, really obvious.
It was really weird. But the Impact wound up losing to us 4-1, and I just remember what's the name? Kyoto?
Yeah.
Just punching
Ronald
Mark
Kyoto.
Mckenzie.
Basically with a
well, first he scored a goal. He
That's
put them
right.
up.
Oh yeah.
He did. That was like 5 minutes
exploded.
in, I think.
Yeah, and then 10 minutes later, he's throwing out elbows and shivving people.
Forgetting about VAR.
Yeah,
it's like I didn't want to win this game anyways. I'm out. Here you go, Mark.
We're scored early at home, so now we got to go full CONCACAF, and we're just gonna.
Full CONCACAF, just bam.
You just got CONCACAF. I love that. Give by the Cooligans. Shout to Cooligans.
Yeah. Damn, son, you got CONCACAF.
I love those guys. Tim, what do you remember from that game, man? Besides,
that's pretty much
it. Did Ali score in that game?
I think he scored that first.
Scored early, right? Then he got the red card, and then right after that, the Union kind of settled in. They're like, okay, we're up a man, we're down a goal, we're not effing losing this game. No, we're not doing this. So Bedoya scored in the first half there. Some good assists from Wooten and Matt Real. So this was one of those weird games where there were some of the role players that were in from the start for the Union, not necessarily the normal starters. You had Real and Bizo actually as the outside backs.
That's right.
One of the only times I think that they played together from the start in this season. But then Casper scored right before halftime, plus 3 minutes in the first half, and he got the second goal to put the Union up. Then he got another one right as the second half started. And then Fontana, comes in again and he gets another goal. He did it this game. He was, I believe he was a starter. I'm trying to find that. Actually, no, he came off the bench again because he's a super sub. That's what he does.
Super sub, baby.
Super sub.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Actually, I wanted to throw out there, get a little bit off topic again. If anyone is interested, please take on Alejandro Bedoya's DVD collection. It's got some pretty good gems in there. So make sure you hit up our captain because he's trying to get rid of it. That was a great tweet by Ali. I love him. All right, so let's continue on. A couple days later, we had another midweek match. We had to travel to Nippert Stadium to face off against FC Cincinnati, and that was a weird one. If you guys remember this year, Cincinnati had one goal, and that was to draw every single game that they possibly could, and this was one of them. We wound up drawing here 0-0. We fell into FC Cincinnati's trap, but hey, we walked away with a point. Justin, did you fall asleep during this one? First off,
basically, I mean, it was not a game that it was bad. The Union played bad. It was a bad surface. It was rainy. That turf did not hold up at all. I mean, people were sliding all over the place.
Why does it always rain when we play there? Remember the first year too, the Marco game? And it started raining there as well.
I think it might have at least the first half in that game. But yeah, no, that game was boring as all heck. I honestly, I can't remember a single thing really about that game. It really, it was dull. It was dull beyond.
It really was. It really was. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. All right, then after that boring game, it was time, man. The next Sunday, September 27th. Our Philadelphia Union hosted Inter Miami for the first time at Subaru Park. And this was the Gonzalo Higuain game. I
was outside. It was one of my first.
It's the Sons of Quarantine.
This was one of my first Sons of Quarantine games. I think the Cincinnati game we'll do in the next episode was the other one. And all I remember is, and I'm going to call out Mike Borton here.
Hey, shots to Mike.
20% chance of rain. As I'm getting near the stadium, going down 295, it is dark as all heck. It is pouring rain down 295. It's dry in Chester, but there's like a ominous cloud coming towards the stadium. And I go, oh, what's the chance of rain? He goes, 20%. Yeah, 20%, like specifically over the stadium, the entire game, standing outside there. Thank God I had Ziploc bags because everything was soaked.
You got to remember to stay prepared down in Chester, guys. You got to remember that. It was definitely crazy. Obviously, Higuain's start didn't start too hot for him in the MLS. But Tim, what do you remember from this game?
I mean, yeah, Higuain's debut, and everyone was hyping it up, and it was going to be the MLS game of the week and all that.
Wait, Tim, do you remember that he didn't even quarantine correctly?
No, yeah, he didn't quarantine correctly.
He didn't, but Miami doesn't need to.
It because they wanted him against I guess it's great, in a way, because they wanted him to play against a good team, which would be the Union this year. So hey, that was cool, but yeah, not cool because they didn't follow the rules. But then he wasn't ready to play, and the Union didn't let him get any comfortability. There was only one real chance that he had where I believe he had almost a bicycle kick that went in. But
just outside the post.
It is what it is. He missed that, and then the Union turned it on. Fontana scores the first goal in the 25th minute. And then I'm trying to remember when the penalty was. I'm trying to look this up.
75th minute?
Okay. So the Union had gotten the second goal at that point. Nelsinho had scored already. So it was already 2-0. And then there's that handball that gets called, and Higuain steps up, and you're like, oh no, like, is this going to be it? And then you see him sky it into the stands. And man, I just wish
and then the meme.
I wish the stadium was full for that, because it would have went 20 rows up and hit someone. And everyone would have just pointed and laughed at him.
Oh, it was Tim. It was like standing outside there. We were like, my dad was watching on TV and goes, he could hear like everything we were doing, and how close we were. and we all started laughing and like had our air horns. And I mean, let's not be, it created the memeable moment of the season.
Oh yeah.
And the surrounding fracas.
Yeah.
Listen, I know Higuain has played in the San Siro. I know he's played in the São Paulo. He's played in Camp Nou. But listen, Subaru Park, that's a different beast, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you do it on a rainy night in Chester?
No.
Higuain? No, you can't.
I mean, the best part of it, I think, was that Glassness gets all up in his face, and you start to see that, and then you see the other
Brujo too.
Oh, Brujo with the
Italian
hand.
It was Glassness who like walks over there first and like starts like jawing.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, like you're nothing. Like welcome to MLS. And then Higuain gets all mad because he's a diva, and then Brujo gets in there and he does what he does best, and he just does his thing.
Man,
I was waiting for that moment.
Oh, I still think it's one of my favorite pictures from the year. Great shot of that.
2020 in a picture.
For real. And everyone was all mad about it because Higuain didn't do well on his debut. But then Brenden Aaronson scored in the 90+7th minute. He scored at the
real star
again, and it was crazy. It was a great game for the Union, and a great way to show that it's not always the best to buy those European superstars. Like they come in and they have
aging superstars, retirement league.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too. Like, I listen, Union fans, I adore you. You guys know I absolutely adore you. But why are you guys still on the Ozil bandwagon? And who else did I see? I saw Hulk. I saw some Hulk. Well, obviously Hulky always wants the.
Hulky wants Hulk. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I saw someone else mention Hulk. I saw someone mention what's his name? Kawagawa, the one from Dortmund.
Yeah.
Oh, Shinji Kagawa?
Those rumors.
Kagawa.
Those rumors that would be MLS have been there forever.
I'm thinking to myself,
isn't he in Spain right now?
I don't even know.
But like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, guys, did you not just see what we just did the last 2 years with the homegrown? And you guys want to go out and get aging European stars and pay them ridiculous contracts for what?
I mean,
MLS 2.0, baby.
Yeah, to be honest, if Ozil was the one to come over, I don't think he would be too much of that cocky guy. I think he would kind of fit well with this team.
But what would the finances look like?
Oh no, it would be crazy. It wouldn't work. But I'm just saying.
Like, Johnny, let's not think about that part. Come on, man.
If you're gonna bring a guy over, I think Ozil makes sense there. But no, that's definitely not the way.
So my motto now going into the off seasons is if I don't know the name of the player, if I've never heard of him, that's a good player.
So you've clearly heard of the guy, the only rumor that we've had this off season.
Oh yeah, I made a YouTube video about it. What's his name? The Uzbekian guy,
could
right?
Not pronounce that. I have no idea.
I could not pronounce that if you gave me like 5 tries.
Yeah, and like, well, that one I think probably his guys were talking to Toronto, and wanted to throw us in there because we're obviously another good team. But like, that rumor kind of. You don't buy it because we don't use natural born wingers in our system. We use the fullbacks to create some attack out wide. But it was definitely interesting to see. I want to get this guy's name. Why can't I find my video here? But nah, it was oh, here we go. All right, so this guy's name is Dodson-Beck Kamdamiv. So yeah, that was the first rumor of the Union off season. So hopefully we're linked to some other guys. I don't know. You guys know what I want. I want that 10 and I want that striker. Yeah, we'll see if that can happen. I want to be mad.
Johnny, what unknown Colombian young Colombian kid can we
I gotta dive back in there. I mean, the Union ever since Valdez, we don't like to mess with Colombia. So
yeah.
Hopefully Ernst can Ernst has done good well in Venezuela, solid in Chile so far. So hopefully keeps looking. So my understanding right now, the hotbed for talent is in Ecuador. They're going through a golden age right now, and they're developing some good young kids. I think one of the kids is in LAFC right now, but that's really the hotbed in South America right now. I don't know what happened. They just injected like good soccer into those kids, and those kids are flourishing and they're hungry. That's the important part. So that's really where you want to go looking at. But yeah, but guys, that was the second part of the Union season. We will end this. The next episode will break down the last part, including the playoff loss. We still got to talk about it, guys. I know it hurts, but thank you guys for listening. Justin, I will let you start off here. This is the last episode of 2020. They're not canceling us yet, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be sticking around. But Justin, any last words here for the listeners before we head into 2021?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the listeners and everyone at PSN, from Liam to you guys, Tim and John, just for listening to me rant about soccer, because Tim's done that the last 5 years. Everyone around me has done that for years. Now I get to channel that lovely frustration on a the streaming service. But no, it's as crappy as the year it's been. Our Union won a trophy.
Yes,
That's the shining, bright shining star. You have
we're 13 million richer.
Yeah, 2-year homegrown sold out to Europe, and hey, it can really only go up from here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hope COVID has hit everyone really hard. I know not everyone has been lucky, like Tim and I, to be able to most likely work from home.
Yeah.
And it's really hit everyone hard. And tried to keep whatever normal is, but it's been tough. Yeah. And sports has been the one avenue that we've all really been able to keep any kind of sanity. But we're almost there. The vaccine's here, and it's coming along the way. So all I can ask is, if we want Union fans in the Soob in 2021, we just got to keep at it. And I know it sounds tough, and I know it's been a really crappy year, but hey, you're healthy. If you're listening to this, you're alive. You're a Union fan. You got Champions League in 2021 to look forward to. Let's just enjoy that. Everyone have a happy and healthy new year.
Yes,
and honestly, may we win more trophies in 2021. Let's not stop with this trophy. Let's keep going.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You said it very well said. Very well said, my brother. All right, Tim. It's been a crazy year, you and I, man. What do you got to say? Last words, 2020, brother.
Oh, I just echo sort of what Justin said, and just say thank you to everyone who's listened to us here on DOOP By The River. This is the one kind of piece of content for Union content, at least at PSN, that has kind of carried us throughout the year. So I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's listened. Huge shout out to John for being the guy to put all this together. No, it's been the one thing that's really saved us. So on an up and down year, so it's great to have you along for the ride here.
Absolutely, brother.
I'm looking forward to 2021, getting back into talking about rumors and transfers and the season coming up and Champions League, and getting some more written articles out on all of this stuff here. So stay tuned for that as well. But no, I'm just excited for what the new year holds. But
absolutely,
thank you everybody for what you have done for us in 2020, for listening to us, and making it a part of your normal podcast rotation for all the Union podcasts that are out there. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, dude. It's crazy. Champions League. As a Union fan, I don't even know how to say that. Champions League. We got to talk about that too.
ECL, baby.
Hopefully we don't get CONCACAF, right?
We're gonna get CONCACAF.
We'll be CONCACAFing.
Awesome. Look, guys, thank you so much for listening. For me, it's so surreal. I look back at it, I'm going on to my third year as, being El Parcero Philly, and it's super surreal for me. 2 years ago, sitting with my girlfriend, on a New Year's, and not knowing what to do with my life, and so many things, circling in my head, whether I go back to school or do I, just pick up whatever, profession, electrician, something like that, follow my dad's footsteps. And, God has I don't want to, I don't like bringing faith in this, but God has a crazy way of working, and he directed me into this beautiful sport again. It was always in my life, but for whatever reason, living in America, it just happened to be in the back burner. But I thank God every day for allowing me to find the sport again and allowing me to find the Philadelphia Union. And and I look back at it, making my first episode of DOOP By The River about 2 years ago. I started it with the signing of Kai Wagner. And to think now Kai Wagner could be sold to the Premier League or Bundesliga, it is so surreal. I literally started this in my apartment in Northern Liberties, Philadelphia. It was a small room. I had a GoPro sitting on top of books. Uh, I literally had the books were on top of my girlfriend's makeup vanity, where she did her makeup. I took that and made that my desk for a year. And I had the GoPro on top of books, and I was nervous as hell. I didn't know if anyone was going to watch this video. I didn't know if I was making a mistake because no one liked the MLS. But 2 years later, and I joined PSN, which was one of the best decisions I've made, not just for the Union, but allowing me to get into the other Philly sports coverage, allowing me to start this podcast. It is so surreal. I have nothing but no one else to thank besides these two right here, Justin, Tim. I have to thank you guys for listening. I have to thank the big man upstairs as well. It really is. I can't ask for anything else. I have a great team with me. I'm able to do what I want to do. You guys know me. I love to just be that goofy guy. I love showing off my personality because, guys, this is a crazy world that we live in, and we learned that in 2020 with COVID, with social injustice that we have here in America. It is important to just put a smile on your face. And for anyone out there who is in a place right now where they're lost, they don't know, what they need to get out of life, just follow the signs, man. That's all I can tell you. Follow the signs, just be positive, have faith, and things will work out. And that's what I did. And look now. Like, I got a great team. I got a great podcast. And thank you guys so much for listening. Please continue to listening in 2021. We are not going anywhere. We're just going to come back even stronger. We're going to be just like the Philadelphia Union. We sold some guys off to Europe, but we're going to come back better and stronger next season. So thank you so much for allowing this Parcero to live out his dreams of I just want to make this a 5-for-5 city. And that's why I do this. I want the Union to be involved in Philly sports because I believe in this club. And I love this club, and I love the fans of this club. So we will get to it. Thank you so much again, guys. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. PSN Radio, all your PSN podcasts are on there. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, El Parcero Philly, to watch the video portion of this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Justin Freiberg over there. Next to him, we got Tim Lovinguth. I'm El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to dupe on. We'll talk to you in 2021.